Hi everyone, it's Tanuja, and today is day 6 of the vigil, fasting from stress, and I am under my father tree. You can see him right there. I'm just sitting here for a few minutes. It's so nice out here. Today is Mother Church, the Catholic Church celebrates Divine Mercy Sunday, and I thought I'll just uh, give a shout out to the church for that. It's Divine Mercy. Mercy is the same thing as loving kindness that the Buddhists talk about. So we had the resurrection, and then now we have Divine Mercy Sunday, and there is a special rosary. Remember the beads I showed you? There's a special rosary that was created by or given to a saint by the name of Saint Faustina, and she spoke about this flowing grace and flowing mercy that is always available to us, and that we need to avail of it. Why not? Why do we have to think that, again, I always say we are not okay here. So whether you practice Christianity, or if you're a Catholic, you have that beautiful practice of you can say the rosary. It takes, actually that one's really nice because it only takes about 5 minutes. We people in the 21st century want everything like that, so easy. This one, the rosary, we always associated with Mary. This one is actually to Jesus. So I wanted to mention that. So you can look that up, the Chaplet of Divine Mercy. Now, as far as the rosary is concerned, it's longer. They have all the mysteries, and maybe it's too long for you. Maybe you don't like rote prayer, but make it your own. I gave you something yesterday with the Be Still My Soul, and I can do all things in love. Love sustains us. So what I used to do is, because again I was too lazy to say the whole rosary. I used to like saying the rosary when I would run. So I would just say, on the Our Father bead I would say Abba Father, and on the Hail Mary bead I would say Ave Maria. And I used to run and use that with the breath. Really, it had a nice rhythm. If you want to try that out, runners and athletes out there, um, we are mind, body, and spirit, right? Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Mind, body, spirit. All of us are that. So you can't separate prayer. What the spirit, our soul needs that. So whatever your creed is, you pick what works for you, but don't leave it out. Here in the United States, we try to, because God is such a controversial topic, a lot of us, we have to leave sometimes our religious organization because maybe it doesn't resonate with you, but that doesn't mean that you have lost God, right? God is not some entity somewhere else. He's a personal experience. And when you see, the cross, and you see Jesus in the middle there. I don't know about you, but in a crisis like this with COVID-19, I'd like someone to hold my cross. I'm a little lazy, and I can't carry my cross, especially this tumor. It's kind of tough. And also, I'm a mother of 4 kids. I have a husband and my mom living with me. 7 of us are in our house, and you know how relationships are. So all of you, maybe even if you live alone, it really doesn't matter. But like I've said in the past, your thoughts can be quite messy sometimes. So so what I do is I'll say, hey Jesus, I can't carry the cross, so can you do that for me now? Because I mean, you're really better than me at this. I can't carry my little cross, but you seem to be able to do everyone's together, so why not? So try it out. Maybe in your creed there is someone to carry your burden, or what you think of as a burden. So put it down for a minute, give it to someone else to carry for a little bit. Give yourself a break, okay? During COVID-19 especially, there is this typical thing when you are at home and, oh my gosh, COVID-19 lockdown, we have nothing to do, let's start 100 projects. So in the Bible, there's this woman, Martha and Mary. That story is, my husband is a Martha. I'm more of a Mary. Sometimes I used to think Mary was lazy, but I don't think she is. And I used to think Martha's a nuisance, but no. Everyone is something and has its right place. But you know what? Take a minute for yourself, okay? So when I finish talking here, I'm going to go back to my mother tree, and I'm going to share with you we're going to talk about the lymph, and we're going to talk about worry and trust, those emotions that are stored in our lymph glands. Yes, in our lymph glands, and it's also the stomach and the pancreas, all of that. So the color is yellow, and I don't have my circle of strength here, but Michael is my guy for, he's my personal friend. I'm sure you have someone like that. He's pretty cool, my husband was telling me, you're doing all these videos and, putting it out there, you have to be careful. So, I have the circle of strength, and I have it around my house. And as I've said in the past, if anybody wants to do anything to me, please meet me on the mat in front of me. Don't be coming through, these, don't be hiding behind a keyboard, okay? Just get in front and do that. I also wanted to mention, shout out to my dad, who, I was looking at the moon last night, and I was, my father's name was Chandran, and it means moon. And believe me, he was a very strong personality and had a pretty loud voice, not at all like the moon. He was more like the sun. So, but I always say now that you're up there, we can have such a great relationship because you're more like the moon now. So Chandran, he, I would say, is epitome of courage with all his anxiety and all of those things and the things that I spoke about yesterday. He managed through it all, and he taught us that love was really important. I didn't understand what love was at that time. Not that I understand it very well now. Of course, left side of the brain, you can go and Google or investigate all those different things like eros, agape, and all that stuff. But just for ourselves, Jesus' commandment was love your neighbor as yourself. So start here, okay? And when you don't have that, that's what affects the lymph. A lot of the autoimmune disorders, especially the ones that are prevalent these days, because of the opioid crisis, so much of drugs being prescribed to patients because they can't deal with their pain. They don't know what else to do. So they keep on going on one drug. When that doesn't work, then they are given a different one. I'm not saying anything against Western medicine because it's a wonderful tool, and the doctors, I mean, my heart goes out to every healthcare worker who is giving their time and taking care of all the patients who are coming in for COVID-19. So, but I'm saying do your part by learning about the circle of strength so you can hold yourself, right? You can hold yourself, and then when the need arises and you have to go to the hospital, you're not going in there like, oh my gosh, all these masked people. And then they say they put you in a room and, you know, they're taking all your blood pressure and all those things. And it's all, they tried their best, but they are overworked right now. So I really encourage you to, you know, try to keep that sense of calm within yourself. You can't do it for everyone else in your house if you don't have it for yourself. So that's why. Shh. For the lungs, very good. And then when you do for the lungs, shh. You can go to the heart, and the sound is ha. Color red. Inhale the color red. Ha. My voice really not the best for this, but you understand. And you don't have to say it out loud. You can just say, so this brings up anxiety and other, you know, all your kids who are probably going, if you are in Catholic schools, you probably had a week off and you're going back into distance learning. You know, I mean, seriously, I am not a homeschooler. I was paying for the children to go to school, so someone else teaches them because I can't do it. But now I have, well, fortunately my daughter's here, my oldest, and she helps out with that. But it feels a weight. Jesus, you got to take that for a bit. It's just a bit much. Maybe you're facing that, and maybe you're looking for things to do with your children, and especially the ones with the special needs and the ones who have maybe a little bit of ADHD, that kind of thing. You know, a lot of staying with the screen time. We know about EMF, you know, exposure and all of that. But what I really want to tell you is get them outside, even if they have allergies, even if it's for a minute or two. Feet in the grass, under the trees, get that oxygen in. Grounding is really, really important. Sometimes I think, you know, we think that we are the ones who are like, you know, the best ones, like the head of the creation. I think the trees, I mean, they are rooted into the ground. They know what they're doing. And according to my youngest son, he was watching a video on the magic school bus, and he said that, you know, the trees talk to each other from underneath with their roots. We, on the other hand, chat, like what I'm doing now. 13 minutes into the video already. Apologies. But I have to say this. But yeah, please ground them. Another issue, if you have some kind of trauma, I've told you about my life, the traumatic events from my life. Your vagus nerve, the nerve that is connected from your brain to your digestive system, that may be a little off. So the best thing to do to, again, like I said, you know, this COVID-19 lockdown, why do I keep saying this thing about the lockdown? I know it's affecting everyone. That's why, I guess. So what to do about this vagus, toning your vagus nerve? The easiest thing is to go to your bathtub and, you know, put some cold water in there and put your feet in there. Now, if you're Christian, you can think about John the Baptist and, you know, that you're in the River Jordan and he's going to baptize you. I'm sure it was cold. There was no hot water there. Okay, so anyway, I hope you think that I'm not being disrespectful with all of this, but I'm the prodigal daughter. Okay, so that's all you can expect from me. But I have been humbled. My life has humbled me, and the wounds of a lifetime, like Father Thomas Keating would say. A shout out to Father Bill Sheehan. He was the first person at a retreat house called Dominican Retreat House, which unfortunately is closed now. He he taught centering prayer, a centering prayer retreat, and I was there, and the analytical mind, as usual, was like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. This is, too difficult. I loved the silence because it was a silent retreat. But not a single friend of mine will go with me on a silent retreat. They're like, how can you be silent for 2 days? I know I'm talking right now, but this is for a purpose, okay? I'm trying to keep you at least entertained, provide some relief for your insomnia, and give you some tips. But anyway, Father Bill Sheehan said, just show up. Doesn't matter, whether you're doing it right or not. In life, if someone tells you that it's okay. If you got it wrong, it's okay. That's what Divine Mercy Sunday is about, right? Mercy, that we receive that. Loving kindness. That's what I said. The perpetrators, they didn't do the right thing in Sri Lanka. The ones at 9/11, they did not do the right thing. But there's a thought on the Western way of thinking, or they think that the West doesn't have the spiritual side of things. Just like in the olden days when you had the Inquisition and all those kinds of things, what are we doing? What are we doing? Are we respecting other people's faiths? The reason I think is because we are removing faith from the equation. Children are not being taught. They have to pray at home. The Muslims in the schools probably have to go to some kind of corner and do it. When I used to travel, I used to have my yoga mat, which, believe me, I've got myself in trouble for that. In a Catholic church one time, I was using the yoga mat outside. And believe me, I had gone and spent some time with the Blessed Sacrament. And I came out, I went for a run, and I was doing my stretches on my yoga mat. I was actually just sitting there, and this woman comes up to me and said, "Are you doing yoga?" And I said, "I'm just sitting here." "Well, isn't yoga bad? Aren't you not supposed to practice that?" I was like, how do you know that I'm practicing yoga? I'm just sitting here. And then I told her that he is waiting for you inside. You should probably go. And basically I was telling her to mind her own business. But you know what? I grew up in India and Sri Lanka. We Indians, our Catholic masses are a little different. We have dancing sometimes, and we use a lot of flowers. Some of the churches here are quite different, but we have to respect them. I was not practicing yoga inside the church now, was I? And seriously, Jesus for me is my man, okay? I'm not looking for something elsewhere, but these practices are part of my life. Qigong is also a practice. My other name is Yochi Maria. Yochi Maria is my alter ego, much more confident than I am. She, her mother's from India and her father's half Japanese, which is the case in my life too. So if I say yoga and Qigong, all the, some of the people from the Catholic Church would be mad at me. And I say Maria, all the Christians who don't probably, have an affinity for Maria may be mad at me also. So can't win there, but that's okay. I'm the prodigal daughter, what can I say? So take the practices that are available, but please don't remove God from it. You can't do that. Like I said, not someone out there, the one in here. Who is that? Do you know who that is? Let's take a minute. Let's do our quiet time. I want you to look in there, meet that person. Who is that person? Breathe in, breathe out. Since we are talking about the lymph, the pancreas and the stomach, there's a lot of trust issues there. So do you trust the government right now to find a vaccine? Do you trust that you are safe in your home? Do you trust that you are safe in your body? Do you have some kind of illness going on? Do you trust your thoughts? Are you worried about something? Okay, let's examine, bring it up. So what do I have as far as a mistrust? My issue was with my husband and my son, that they are going to clean some room without telling me and then move my stuff. Well, this is my story and I'm sharing. It's not easy for me, but I want to just to entertain you, like I said. But it's true. It's okay. I don't want to entertain you. This is supposed to be a vigil, but you're not going to stay with me for 21 minutes listening if I don't have something funny in there, right? But this is true. I'm sure this is happening in your house too. Men are from Mars and women are from Venus. That's like really true. Okay, I have to remember to tell you about the story on the Garden of Eden, where, but that's later. Let's go back to examining. So, you can forward this for that part, but here's what I want you to do. Do the examine, find what you want, and let's release it. The lymph and the pancreas and the stomach, that whole area. The color is yellow. So the sound is who. So inhale, the color yellow, and exhale, purge whatever you're worried about and having issues with trust. Who. Pause the video and sit quietly for 30 seconds or for however long you want. Continue with this and purge that area, okay? I do want to say, when the lymph is not functioning very, very well, that's when you start having tumors. Initially, it starts out as a cyst, and then in traditional Chinese medicine, they say phlegm and blood collect together and then form the tumor. And then through these sounds, you can break it down and it moves back to a cyst, and then the body will get rid of it. Of course, you should be under the guidance of a doctor, and at least a functional doctor. The Western part of it, if you have tumors, they do ask you to remove them right away. But sometimes it may not be the best thing to do, but that's up to you. Do you want to remove it first and then work through why it was there, or do you want to work through it while you're, taking care of removing it? I lost my very good friend, Aisha, may her soul rest in peace, to ovarian cancer, and it was very sudden. She was only 40 years old. That was 2016, and then a few months later, I was with my dad. And by the way, I said we were in Sri Lanka, but we were actually in India, in a hospital there. And then the same year, at the end of the year, that's when I found that there was this very small possible tumor, DCIS, which is precancerous. Don't quote me on this, but some people will say it is cancerous and you have to take it out, but sometimes DCIS can reverse. Anyway, I'm not a doctor. You can do your research. I'm a health coach, but I just wanted to mention that because that's what I have. So I'm just saying, maybe if you have lymphoma or someone you know has lymphoma, all these people who have any kind of autoimmune disorder, including multiple sclerosis, you're all susceptible because your lymph is not draining very well. The heart is a pump for the blood, but the lymph doesn't have one, so you got to move. What are the things you can use to move? The Qigong practice, the sounds are really great for people who, incapacitated. They cannot do a lot of things. They can't run and things like that. Everyone should use the sounds, okay? The world was created with sound. At the cellular level, we are, every cell has its own frequency. So, yes, please use the sounds. They are useful. And if they don't work for you, try it on a family member and see whether it resonates with them. It has been very helpful for me, and it has been very helpful for my family. So that's why I'm sharing that. The other thing, like a trampoline in the backyard, they say that, that's very good to move the lymph. But, I can't expect my 78-year-old mother to be jumping on a trampoline, right? Okay, so we use the sounds, and I do some energy work on her. Anyway, Donna Eden, like I mentioned, she's pretty good with the morning routine. She also has tracing the meridians. If you can't see an acupuncturist or someone who can really help you move your lymph, like with a lymph drainage massage or something, these are simple things. You can Google, YouTube. They have the videos, so please check them out. So back to the Garden of Eden, because I really, really want to tell you this. Adam and Eve, ask and you shall receive, right? I always wondered about this. Benevolent God, that's what I have. Anything you ask, He's going to give it to you. And we have the free will to do whatever we like. I mean, that's the kind of God we have, a merciful one if we, kind of fall. Really merciful. That word sin kind of, doesn't resonate with people. It's kind of scary, but it's just about what it really means. If you look in the Hebrew Bible, is just, just shifting the direction from where you're supposed to be, your purpose. Find your purpose. That's what it is. So anyway, Eve, we all supposedly have come from Eve, but if I was Eve, I wouldn't be asking the serpent, okay? If a serpent came and, offered me something, I would go directly to God and say, you said don't eat from this thing, but, can I do that because it looks good? Why can't I eat from that? I think that it'll be good. And he would say, oh, I don't want you to eat from that because I want you to depend on me. But I would say, but can I help you out here? I mean, down here, I can help you out, or wherever I am. And I can make some kind of promise that I will do my best. I will do my best, okay, to not to use the knowledge that you're giving me in the wrong way, because that's what it is in the end. Pride is the biggest sin. Ego, whatever practices you're doing, do them for the goodness of yourself and for others. Don't be doing like this power trip thing, okay? We remove spirituality out of all these things. Like there are lots of people who practice yoga, like, Bikram yoga is a great one. I use that because of the whole lymph thing. It really moves the lymph because we practice in very high heat. Did you know that viruses can't live in very high heat? All pathogens usually die. So if you have access to a sauna, I have a portable sauna. if you're interested in that, I can do a video on that, that I use. And so they can't do anything in high heat. But the practice of yoga is still the same. The asanas, which is the movement, and the breath, right? The body and the breath. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Where is your mind then? Are you focusing in here, or are you too busy looking at the person next to you saying, he can stand on his head. I want to stand on my head. I was afraid of the downward dog posture because I have weak wrists. That didn't work that well for me. So then I had to really be careful. And it was very embarrassing because everybody else was doing it. I had to do the baby posture, the baby downward dog posture. Very humbling on the mat. Be humble on the mat. Be yourself. Don't be looking at other people if you are doing yoga, okay? And make sure you have the right reasons why you're doing yoga. Carry your faith with you. Then, there's no outside influence that can come in. I know there are some people who practice yoga and I don't know what happened to them, but maybe they were in it for the wrong reasons, or they were looking for something which didn't resonate with them. So find your resonance. And remember this, God meets you where you are, okay? He meets you where you are. Right now, we can't go to church or temple or mosque anywhere. We have to do everything at home. So you put him on the TV. We have, I watch the TV Mass. I participate in the TV Mass. And in the Mass, we have Jesus who is giving himself up for me. I mean, do you have someone like that who will do that for you? Will even give you 5 minutes for you? Well, I've got this guy doing this, okay? He was considered the anointed one. You find your anointed one. And no anointed one is going to say, go kill someone, okay? There is no anointed one who's going to do that. In the name of, we Christians, we did the same thing. You can't do that. No killing of any kind. If you have a choice, choose life. Okay, I don't want to get into that whole political thing, but choose life. Okay, just choose life. And if you make a mistake of any kind, hold on to the mercy. It's there. We have this thing in Catholicism called the Blessed Sacrament. If you don't know what that is, please Google that. That again, a quiet presence, always waiting. You just go and sit in front and just be quiet, read a book. He meets you where you are. She meets you where you are. So I love sitting in front of the Blessed Sacrament. Now we have to do it on TV. So it's really not about the place out there, right? The Blessed Sacrament is right in here, inside your heart. So every faith has their prophets and the ones who have said the good things. And I know that in every creed, there are the people who know and who are advocating for peace. But you can't advocate for peace outside yourself until you can find it even for that one moment within you. And when you have a enemy like COVID-19 that you can't see, that is coming through the air, right? What are you going to do? You're going to protect yourself with the circle of strength. That's what you're going to do. And then you're ready to reach out to the others. So, enough said here. Like I said, loving kindness, mindfulness practices, wonderful practices from Buddhism. These are not the people doing those practices who attacked my house in Sri Lanka when I was 13 years old. Not the ones who are practicing mindfulness, okay? They're not the ones. 9/11, when it hit here in the US, that is not what the Quran is saying. Like I mentioned to you yesterday, we have our Muslim brothers and sisters who are very clear that that's not the case. So, but the perpetrators don't have another way of communicating. For some reason, they feel that they need to attack. How can we reach out to them and say, we will listen? You know how if you have small children, if you don't give them something they want, they just throw a tantrum. Well, this is a giant tantrum at the cost of a lot of lives. So starting the first thing for the little ones, when they get upset, because you might have moms, dads, taking care of the little ones, when they get upset, just instead of try to calm them. I know we have this thing of a timeout, put them in a timeout. When I was a baby, there was this guy, Dr. Spock, apparently he said, left the child on the ground and let them roll around. Really? They need to be held first. I don't believe in that kind of thing, and I don't think I liked it as a baby either. It's probably why I have all these eccentric ideas. Yeah. So put your hand, just like you're doing right when I mentioned about the moment, put your hand right there. Even if you hold it like that, and then softly tell them, can you tell me that? I am listening. I'm a person with a temper. If my husband had said that and put his hand on my heart and said, I am listening, I probably, wouldn't have yelled at him as much. Yeah. Here's another thing, okay? If you're yelling and your husband is not listening, check his hearing. I found out that my husband can't hear very well in his left ear after 23 years of marriage, okay? I probably have been yelling in the wrong ear. Yeah. So that really makes me laugh. The temper tantrums, even the people in prison, the people who are doing these crazy stuff, some violent acts, right? That is not who they are. At the core of their being, they are just like us, all of us. We are all the same. When we are born and we are separated from our mother, that's the moment we start forgetting who we are. And we all need to remind each other that, when you see the next person in the grocery store with a mask and you get scared that, I don't think nowadays you get scared with the mask. I think if it's a mask and coughing, or if a person without a mask and you're like, oh my God, how can they go to the grocery store without a mask? Did you get the memo? I would carry an extra mask and probably offer it to them. I think I need to do that. I need to figure out how to make these masks. I have a couple of videos that I've been looking at, and I need to do that. If you haven't done it, carry an extra mask. Then you don't have to be concerned and be judgmental on why that person is not wearing a mask, because brothers and sisters of the planet, judgment is the thing that has got us in this place, and judgment is not from God. The judgment is us. We're not happy with the way things are going in the world, and we are anxious and we are upset, and sometimes we say it and we don't say it in the right words, and so people get upset. So in the end, the judgment is usually you're judging yourself. You are feeling guilty. Oh, don't even get me started on the guilt thing and the Catholic Church. I belong to the church, you know that, right? And we have this thing called confession. It's reconciliation, people. It's where we go and we reconcile with God. It's not about judgment. If there's anyone who judged you, it's wrong. And I'm not judging them for doing that. I'm just saying, know it within yourself. Please forgive them. Please forgive them. The Catholic Church was started by a bunch of fishermen, some people who denied Christ, a couple of thieves, someone who saw Jesus, actually saw him and said, let me put my hand inside your side to make sure it's you. These are the people who are running the church, okay? So they were chosen for that because God uses us through our real difficulties to, bring out the best in us. Saint Paul, the guy had to fall off a horse and, light came in, and then he, woke up, and he was a persecutor of Christians, and he is the one who we read. It's his stuff that we read in the church as the second reading. So there's sainthood for you and me, people. Okay, we're all saints. When I go back in, I'm going to show you another favorite saint. By the way, my poem today is again a tribute to Teresa of Avila. I don't know why I was afraid of this lady, but or looking into her work, it seemed a bit scary. But she said that, what, Christ, or I'm not sure the exact words here, but Christ is not here now, so we have to be his hands, right? So be his hands. And I'm offering, if you are lonely, right, because you're, stuck, or, the people in your house are finding it difficult with claustrophobia and just, what shall we do tomorrow or today? Here, I'm giving you my hands to hold you up for a moment, so that be quiet, pick yourself up, get ready, and then go and face the people whom you love. You know that you love them, but maybe not like some of their behaviors, but still. Okay, so the saint I'm going to look at is today is Saint Hildegard from Germany. She was a composer. She was what I love about this woman is the fact that she used everything from nature. In fact, a lot of the European hospitals use a lot of the herbs and her methods, even in medical school. Hildegard of Bingen. She was a bit controversial, so of course she's going to be a friend of mine. But she and Teresa of Avila, the other controversial one, and by the way, Teresa of Avila used to be called I forgot, but God's troublemaker. She's a saint, okay? There's hope for all of us. Anyway, why Hildegard? Because she talks about, again, this respiratory illness, what to do. Fennel is something really good. Fennel, the fennel seeds, the fennel, you can use it in a soup. Very good for respiration. So I wanted to throw that one out there for you. Okay. I promise I'm not going to talk too much when we get back to Mother Tree. I just want to show you the essential oils that I like using, and we'll close up, okay? So I'll meet you back there.